Facebook, it's Maja Wolnik from Maja Creative, and today I'm with the lovely Nebula from Ball Doggett. She's the wonderful communications manager, and we wanted to have a quick chat about choosing the perfect paper for your brochure. How are you, Nevi?
Good, Maya, how are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good.
Thanks for having me today.
You're welcome.
So, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Why is paper so important when it comes to brochure design?
Okay, that's a tough question to answer because there are a lot of things I could say. Let's start with paper is all about perception. So if you're going to choose a flimsy paper for a brochure, it communicates a lot about a brand. But when you're thinking about premium uncoated papers, whether they're white or coloured, you're talking about something that holds a lot of brand legitimacy, and paper really is a big communication tool. So just like you're going to, whether you're going to buy a cheap pair of sneakers over something that is made, with beautiful leathers or great stitching, there is a real difference in perception, and paper plays such an important part in branding, I think.
Okay, so I've also noticed recently that people really love thicker paper. Can you shed some light on why that would be?
Okay, well, thicker paper is good from a psychological perspective. It really says to the person holding that particular print piece that it's not just premium, but it actually is more important. So there is studies done around this kind of thing, because paper really is about all the senses, right? Like the touch. I mean, if you're crazy like we are, you can smell the paper, but the eyes, everything other than hearing. Paper, feeling something thicker in your hands really holds, and pardon the pun, a certain weight to it, and is really, it says so much about the time and attention you're putting into a document as well, that you're choosing something that has a bit of legitimacy around it, and not just like the cheapest paper you can find or access.
So I guess it makes it feel like the document is more important.
Yes, that's a very good way to put it. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is important. Like, you're communicating so much in one brochure or in a brand, and if you can say that just by the touch of something, let alone your design and what you're saying, like the content, it's a really winning formula.
Awesome, thanks for that. And also, I know that you guys do a lot of insights and research into paper. So can you tell me a little bit about, how does brochures and catalogues, do they work well on their own, or is it better to have them with other types of marketing?
Good question. My answer will always be, as part of the marketing mix, brochures are fantastic. Because you can have print and digital work together. So anything you've got offline, you can push online, and vice versa. A print piece will always is extremely memorable because you can leave it behind. So when you're leaving it behind with somebody, it doesn't necessarily just sit on their desk or it go home, so other people are reading it, interacting with it, and really it has no shelf life. So an email you might see and delete immediately, but a print piece doesn't have a shelf life. And often the statistics say it can stay in a home, like a piece of, like a brochure or a catalogue, for up to 6 to 8 weeks. So the amount of people that can see it in that time, you can share it with people, it's a lot more, has a lot more cut through than just an email. It's not to say one's better than the other, but using them together, that return on investment is huge, and can be up to 60% in some cases when you've got print as part of the mix.
And have you guys noticed that there's a bit of a trend of brochures and printed materials coming back?
Sure, we're going to always say yes. But yes, in the sense of having something that's tangible. So we might all talk about the digital world being this crazy behemoth, all the millennials love it, but actually, if you look at the statistics, millennials love the tangible as well. So we're shifting back to giving someone something they can hold and feel, because tangible is like legitimate. There's something legitimate about a print piece that you can't get from an email.
And would you say it's also more memorable?
Definitely more memorable, 100%. And look, if you do your marketing right and your design right and you have all of those things work together, then that is one killer campaign right there.
And tell us about this little thing. What is this used for? Sometimes I bring it out to my clients and they're like, I had no idea this is how we choose paper. So I'm going to get the right person to explain it to you.
Sure. So this is what we call a Swatch kit. This is our one for the HP Indigo Swatch. So that's digital printing, which means short runs. perfect for brochures and catalogues. And in this swatch, we have literally swatched every single paper that we stock that's suitable for HP indigo printing. We have others coming out, but this is our first one. And as you can see in the swatch, we not only have white papers, but we have coloured stocks, we have textured stocks, we have your whites, we have everything in between. And what we do is we section them off depending on the type of paper, so coated, uncoated. We've got even the self-adhesive, so the sticky stuff. And what we do is we list the environmental, which is a bit hard to see, the environmental credentials that come with each paper. We list the weights, we list the grammages that it comes in, and often what it's good to be used for, so application types. But this is a really handy little Chicago screw situation where we give to our clients, and that way, choosing papers for digital printing is a ton easier, and all the, the hard work's taken out of it in this swatch.
Thanks, Nebby. Also, we were talking a little bit earlier about the environment. So obviously when we are printing brochures, we are using paper, and some people are concerned about sustainability. So can you tell us a little bit more about your paper range and how does the environment come into that?
Very good question. Well, the thing that I always like to say to people is you can always feel good about using paper. And the reason is paper is a sustainable resource. You can literally recycle it anywhere up to 8 times, and it comes from the ground and it goes back into the ground. So it's unlike an electrical device, which we all need, our phones, for example, they can't be recycled. And so paper really is one of those sustainable options, which back in the day, we always thought paper was bad. But in the industry that we're in particularly, we have to plant more trees than are forested for paper. But actually, at the end of the day, paper is a tiny component of a tree when it's actually in sustainable managed forests, by the way. So no tree is ever cut down from heritage listed sites. It's all sustainably managed. And paper's a tiny component of it. Normally, it's for energy or furniture.
Right.
So at the end of the day, paper's good. Paper's really good.
And we can recycle it.
Well, yeah, that's right, up to like about 8 times, which is great. And look, the debate about recycled paper versus non-recycled paper, it's kind of a muchness because there are so many great credentials to paper these days as far as environmental statistics are concerned. All of our papers mainly have FSC accreditation or PEFC. They're all from responsibly managed forests. Some are recycled, some aren't, but they're all, as far as the environment is concerned, a really great choice.
Awesome, that makes me feel really good. So lastly, I just wanted to ask, is there anything that you think my clients should know about paper when they are selecting or considering doing brochure design?
Yeah, good question. I would probably say start with the paper choice almost and go from there. We've got mock-ups and samples, so if you have a paper that you like, we can send you a sample through our design line services around Australia, or you can ask for a mock-up. So it's always good to feel the brochure or the catalogue in your hand. It may not be printed, but if you see it mocked up in the papers that you're choosing, you can say yes or no, that feels great. If it's for mailing, you need to know how heavy it is, all that kind of stuff. I think that's one of the most important things. Choose the paper and have the design work together, not the other way around necessarily. Don't design and then choose the paper. I think it's really important if you together work on that, you'll have an excellent outcome.
So we have to think about the physical end product first before we do the design.
That's just a personal opinion, but I think it helps.
All right.
I think it helps.
We'll try it that way.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Nebby. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thanks. Bye. No, seriously, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh.
So, ask me the question again. Go.
What was the question?
Psychologically, do it.
Oh, what was my question? Psychologically, the heavier the paper.
Okay, go.
1, 2, 3. Awesome. 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 Awesome.